Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this Monday's Wealth Creation Show. How are you today, Jim?
All right, I just look like a wee head bobbling about in here because this is dark. I should have put a lighter top on. Everybody
got
can see me on Instagram and TikTok because I've got a green background. Oh, well, sorry, I'm in the studio.
You do. You do look bright. You got different lighting.
No, it's just
No.
I've got that top on. That's hence the reason why it looks like I'm
All right,
white. It's like, honest, I have got a tan.
Okay, so today we are going to discuss money, and I titled it as "Money Everything."
Oh, no
because
money again. Really? It's like,
money's the
money,
driver.
why money? It's like, we always talk about money. It's like, well, I'll be honest, it's the only thing right up there with oxygen.
Yeah.
You need it for everything you do. So anybody that sits there and tells me money is the root of all evil, you're probably poor, to be honest. You've probably got no money, and that's why you say that, because you justify in your own mind why you should call it the root of all evil, because you can't acquire it yourself and you can't make it. That's the reality.
Yeah, I think obviously we know money is the driver, and this is the Wealth Creation Show. I've kind of broke it down into about 5 topics today to kind of try and lead us through the conversation. But we'll have a wee chat about money to begin with before we dive into those 5 different points. But yeah, money it's the typical element that drives the world, really, and has undeniably become the centre of our entire existence, and it really is. And I think if we delve into it a bit more today and the reasons why money has gained such a prominence in society nowadays, it might make a lot more sense to people that maybe have different views against money than what maybe others do. And the increasing complexities of modern life and the deep-rooted desires within people and things as well, the allure of money permeates every aspect of people's life, I believe. And I think that's a true statement to put out there.
I find it quite interesting, quite amusing when people say to me, this is the stories I used to get in the past, because obviously I was skint as well at some point in time, and I says, I really want to be successful at something. I want to be quite wealthy as well. And I used to get people say to me, I wouldn't like that. Sorry, you wouldn't like being wealthy? It's like, have you tried it lately?
Or I wouldn't like to have too much money.
I wouldn't like to have all that money. It's like, have you tried it lately? Because I tell you what, it's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
It solves a lot of problems. I remember Bill O'Brien, one of the mentors that I had years and years ago, he used to say, how, basically you can solve most things by beating it to death with a bag of money.
Which unfortunately is true.
And Bill knew what he was talking about when you look at it, because Bill was quite successful in what he did. He put the Viking probe on Mars. So it was his personal project. He was in charge of the Viking probe for Mars at the time, and worked with Martin Marietta, which is obviously the aerospace company. But this was the type of guy that actually him and his pals got together because their wives had a bad experience with a bank manager, bought the bank and sacked the manager.
And that's a great example of solving it with a bag of money.
It's like that manager upset me. They bought the bank and sacked the manager. Simple as that. Who does that?
I know.
Who has the money to do something like that? That's the kind of thing I'm thinking about. But that's ultimately what money can solve. Money can solve a lot of problems for you. It can solve a lot of problems for other people as well.
Yes.
My profound statements this week, just to change the subject.
I was going to get to them. I was going to ask you.
What
are your profound statements for this week?
How people say it takes 2 to tango. Well, it doesn't. It takes 1 to drag the other one along.
That's quite good, actually.
It's quite a good one. Jose Hernandez, he was the first Mexican, actually, the first Mexican NASA astronaut. A fantastic film. If you've not watched it yet, I think it's Michael Pena is actually the person. It's actually the lead. He plays Jose Hernandez. And he hounded NASA to get accepted in the program because they wouldn't accept Mexican astronauts. They just thought, what do you know? You're probably
Hispanic, yeah.
Yeah, you're probably thick as shit as far as we're concerned. And it was that racism towards them and discrimination because of his culture. And it's quite interesting because he had 5 rules, and I wrote it down, and I've stuck with me for quite a while. He says, the first rule for him is define your purpose in life. So, get a real purpose in life, define it, actually get right to the nitty gritty of what you actually want. Recognize how far you are in that process so far. Buy yourself a roadmap so that you know how to get there. And then the fourth one, prepare yourself accordingly to the challenge. And then the final one for him was work hard and work smart. That's it, really. And it's as simple as that. So how could a Hispanic, Mexican, guy growing up in a family with basically none of them had any aspirations, none of them had any education level like that at all, go from such a young boy to say that I'm going to be an astronaut one day and pursue that dream? And yet, most people can't even balance their own books and their own monthly budget every single month. How is that possible? Where is the difference here? And it's all to do with up here. Acquisition is money is not, you don't acquire money for money's sake. You acquire money by what you learn and how successful you are and what you're doing, and your determination and consistent approach in order to accumulate, because it is a benchmark. It's what we're paid in. Try and paying somebody their monthly salary in buttons. Could I get away with that, Richard?
No. No.
No, I don't think so.
That sounds like a really interesting story, and undoubtedly the discrimination against him has probably been the main driver for him to succeed as well, I would imagine.
Absolutely, I think it was. But have you watched the film? Again, it's a fantastic film. Definitely, if anybody's not seen it yet, it's either on Amazon or it's on Netflix or Amazon. I'm not really sure. You talk amongst yourselves, and I'll quickly look it up.
Yeah, well, back to money, and like we said, obviously, money does hold quite significant importance because of its ability to provide various benefits to people, and that's things like security and freedom, and to some extent even good health and happiness. And we've covered all of those throughout the shows. But money does really influence those things in your life, and this could also help people achieve their desires to attain these. And more money serves as a valuable instrument in attaining any of these things.
Yeah, the film is called A Million Miles Away, and it's just out. It's 2023 film. And as I said, it's either on Netflix or it's on Amazon, one or the other. But it's Michael Pena, who's actually a fantastic actor. I think he's brilliant in a lot of films. Prime, it's on. Sorry. So it's on Prime. Watch it, because it is a really inspirational film about someone that actually. And this is what people don't understand. We'll come back to money, but this is the acquisition, and this is how it happens. But this is what people don't understand. It's these kind of stories. It should inspire you to go out and do your own thing and build your own dream and lean into what you do best. That's the type of things, that's what floats my boat when I watch a film. It's like, that's the type of films I want to know about. That's the type of films I want to see. I didn't want to see Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. I've seen it. Yeah. I saw it when I was a child. It's like that's not gonna help me in my that's not gonna help me on my journey at all.
It's good to have things like that to watch and reflect to and use as inspiration, because as I said, maybe has discrimination and the race thing, and that's driven him. But a lot of people might not have something so poignant in their life to push them forward. So to take inspiration for others like that,
If he can do it, that was his mindset. If he can do it as a Mexican and a Hispanic person, then anybody could do it in his culture. And this is what drove him to do it. I don't want to give away too much of the film, but definitely, it's a fantastic film. Definitely watch it.
Yeah, I've wrote that down. I'll give that a watch. So having financial resources and things grants people the advantage to reducing the time they spend on doing undesirable tasks and allowing them to increase the time that they dedicate to preferred activities. Now, that could involve investing. We talk a lot about property investing, but that's not what we predominantly always has to be the thing, but obviously we refer back to that quite a lot. And also it allows you to have quality time and spend time doing things, whether that's with loved ones or whether it's on personal passions and hobbies. And the possession of wealth enables individuals to have control over how they allocate their time. Jim, and you always refer back to, obviously you're a self-proclaimed time lord, but time is the most important thing, and money and wealth and attaining that allows you to get back time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, which is really, obviously, you can't put a price on that, in all honesty.
Yeah, and I'm going to pop this this one here. I'm going to put this on the screen so people can see this. Anybody, I'll defy you to tell me anything different, because this is a fact about property. And people just forget this. You know, we've got the curve. We've got that curve where it's like every single day we're involved in this. Oh my God, it's just overwhelming every single day.
All the ups and downs.
We're up and down and up and down. We're up and down in our mood and our attitude and all the rest of it. It's just chaos and panic every single day. But as you move that into a month, it goes into a natural flow of up and down, you know, as we go. And then you move that into a year, it goes into a straight line almost to go, well, wait a minute, you've actually started a day and you're going up there. But if you move that into a decade, into 10 years, you're going from here, and it's like an upturned hockey stick in terms of the amount it goes. Now look at this screen here. Look at this screenshot I'm just going to share with you. This is property. The average property price in 1966, when I was born, was £3,595 versus 2023, 291,361. That is an increase in property prices, and since I've born, in the last 56 years, coming up for 57, of 8,004%. Inflation in that time has gone up 1,417. You tell me property isn't the best performing asset class in the world, because it is every single time. And that increase of 8,004% is only the price. That has got nothing to do with the rental coming in as well. So if you've got rent coming in as well to go on top of that, that's going to go way into the 10,000 price, you know, 10,000 return, 10,000% more than likely. And inflation's only 1,417. Nobody can tell me that property isn't the best performing asset class in the world, more than likely. Yes, you can go, oh, but what about Tesla? In between this period and that period, I'm talking about over the long term.
Longevity,
from the beginning since time began, in the last 50 or 100 years, right to now. And it will be in the future as well. It will still continue to the best performing asset class ever. Ever. Mark my words, ever.
Well,
Nothing
that was quite a good example to put there, and it's quite hard to argue with that, really. And that's quite a good example for you to bring in, because I was just about to say,
grandparents were alive today, I'd biff them in the chops for not buying more property.
Not buying more property, yeah. But yeah, so yeah, and if you've got money and financial resources, it does allow you the opportunity to basically choose your desired profession. And property investment's one thing that a lot of people do. And in certain cases, people could quit their job altogether, and then that allows them to have that freedom and be able to leave maybe a low-paying, stressful job, and brings them more satisfaction and possessing wealth, and then that empowers them as an individual to exercise their freedom to do and pursue alternative paths. And property investment's a prime example of how to do that. Jim, you've obviously shared your experiences with us, how you've built that up over the years and got yourself from financial independence right to financial freedom.
Yeah.
So yeah, in today's world, it's hard to ignore the fact that money has become the most important thing everywhere we go.
Exactly. But I would say, and before the TikTokers dive in,
jump in.
Just look at the TikTokers over here, over this side of my camera screen. Before the TikTokers dive in, health's up there as well.
Yeah, oh, of course, yeah.
Because if you've not got your health, you've not got anything. If you've not got your health, you're screwed. That's it. You're done.
Then, although you begin
to realize about your health when you get later on, when you get to about 50 onwards, and your life starts to flash before your eyes.
When your body starts to show you signs of getting older. Yeah. But then, as we've said before, money could help you from a health aspect as well. I mean, I know we've got the NHS here, but when it comes to something that you need done and you can afford to do it privately,
you can just get it done.
Yeah. Because there's a long wait list on the NHS for a lot of things.
Yeah, imagine, and it's unbelievable that people today that need care for cancer or care for kidney or care for any tumours or anything that happens to them, they've actually got to go on a waiting list and wait for 6 months to a year. It's like they're dying.
Yeah,
they're effectively dying, and you've got them on a waiting list. Really, a waiting list to live?
There was someone close to me recently.
They can't do anything about it. They can't do anything about it. They're not the capacity to do anything about it. And no matter who they say to, they can't get anybody to help them. And that's what the problem is. So this is why I'm a big fan of, if you can make enough money, then possibly maybe consider private health insurance. And that's the way to go. We can talk about, till the cows come home, about the political system, about that's no fair because we're creating a two-tier system. It's like, well, I'm afraid when it comes to your survival and your life, I don't think anybody's really going to care if it's fair or no, as long as they're getting looked after.
Yeah. I mean, somebody told me recently, I think it was a neurological scan thing that they needed, whatever, and the wait list for it was 117 weeks.
Yeah. Look at our friend Sanjay. Sanjay's been in hospital right now. He's got private healthcare, and he's been able to choose his own consultant who's going to look after him, who's going to do the operation, and he's now on the road to recovery. So, Sanjay, if you're watching, get in there, and you're going to get through this and all the rest of it. But could you imagine if you had to go on a waiting list, and it's like you had to wait to get that sorted? He's like, he might not even be here.
I know.
Contemplate that, because the system can't cope, and we've not got enough. I don't think it's a case of funding. We've not got enough skills for people to process this, and the system isn't working properly. And no one in the government knows how to sort this. No one in the political system knows how to sort this. And I doubt, the NHS is such a big dinosaur. It's got to that level. Very few people in the NHS know how to solve that on a national scale. That's the problem here. So you need to look after yourself when it comes to these occasions, unfortunately, and that's what money affords you to do.
I know.
And others round about you as well. The option to help other people round about you are just not as fortunate as you are. Then that's what your obligation is. Well, that's how I see it. If I can make the money, if I don't need the money, then I can make it to give to someone else that needs it.
Yeah, definitely. So let's say I broke it down into kind of 5 sections today for us to talk about things, and I was going to talk about, firstly, society's expectations and the pressures to succeed in things as well, because in today's, it's a highly competitive world, and success is often measured by an individual's financial achievements, and society does place an immense emphasis on material wealth, and that's equating it with personal achievement and happiness and things. We see it all the time. Social media is one big player in that, to obviously the influence of people.
Let's talk about material wealth then.
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to say, pressure to succeed in science expectations. What other people's opinions are, other people's opinions use is none of your concern. That's what it comes down to. And I know we all don't like that. I mean, I had it at the weekend where people said, does anybody know a good estate agent? And I had other people, recommend them, and I had other people recommend another agent. And then it got into a bun fight where people were saying my agent's better than yours. And the guy actually had to switch off the comments. And I thought, really? How tragic is your life that you've got to fight against someone else about your opinion's better than theirs when it comes to choosing an estate agent? Get a grip.
Social media can be a really toxic place.
And that's what this problem has caused in the social media perception. And then it's all the glitz and glamour that goes round about it. It's things like, oh, I've got a Lamborghini. Oh, I've got a Ferrari. It's like, I've got a big massive house. I've got a Porsche. I've got a BMW. I've got this and I've got that and I've got it. And people put other people up on a pedestal because of what they see in their material wealth or their so-called success. But this is Instagram. Instagram's probably the worst thing you could ever watch, because Instagram's only a system designed to create a funnel for people to sell you stuff. That's all it is. Social media is a bit more social and interactive. That it's not that kind of platform. It's probably a platform for people to get to know other people to see if they want to do business with them. But when it comes to Instagram and when you come to the TikTokers as well and TikTok platform, some of these are very toxic. And it's not something that anybody it's not prepared for it should have in their head. So what I mean by that, it's we all are quite vulnerable. We all are grown up and we've taken a lot of knocks in our life. And some people have taken a lot more knocks than others. And and they just can't handle that anymore. They can't handle the criticism that they get and the negativity that they get. And that's why you get people saying, I've got to take a break from social media. Now, for me, it's like, what stage are you on in your life, in your journey, that you have to take a break from social media? Just stop looking at it.
No.
You don't need to take a break from it. Just stop looking at it and stop reading it and stop. Stop. It's like stop. I don't like what's in the papers. Stop reading the damn papers then. It's like, oh, but you've seen this, you've seen that. It's like, oh, it's overwhelming. I don't want to bring kids into this world. You heard that before. I don't want to bring kids into this world because this is a horrible world. It's like, what have you been watching that you've determined this is a horrible world? Because it's not.
Yeah.
You've got
And
some
a lot of
horrible
that's
people.
on social media. Yeah.
You've got some horrible people and horrible attitudes, but it's no horrible world. The
No.
world is what you make it, and you perceive it as to be horrible because that's what it is to you right now. But it's not that to most other people.
Yeah, I do have people that have removed the Facebook app and things from their phone and not deleted their account, and not because it's like anything negative. It's just because they spend too much time looking at it, and it takes up too much of their time. So they take the app off their phone, which is understandable because you could go down a rabbit hole with social media.
So you should then be analytical enough to question yourself and say, how am I letting myself be controlled by something which is in my control? How is that? What am I not doing? I should be disciplining myself. I should be disciplining myself to say, no, I'm not going to look at it. I'm not going to do this, or I'm not going to do that. It's why do they let them do that? And they're cleverly designed to actually reel you in. That's the whole point. So when people show you Ferraris and you get this wee, here it is, dopamine. Here it is, sparks off in your mind. When you see a Ferrari or you see a Lamborghini and you see somebody being successful, you get a wee high and a wee jump out of that as well. So when you see that, you feel elated. And that's the perfect opportunity when somebody feels elated to sell them something.
Yeah.
Because they're more receptive now, because they're open to that, because they're now vulnerable, I would say. In that context, I'm not saying just go about being a miserable bugger for the rest of your life, and then that'll solve that problem. Well, it will, because you'll have nobody that goes about with you. Then that'll be the reality. But as a human species, we need connection with other people, and like attracts like. And so then, if you're going down that rabbit hole, as you said, Richard, then because you're attracting like, you'll attract people negative just like you, and then we're into a never increasing spiral downwards.
Yeah.
So you don't want to get around these people. You want to break out of that cycle, and you don't need to take a break from social media. You just need to say, I'm just going to get on with it. I'm just going to do what I'm going to do.
Do you know that the TikTok app's quite? They've designed it so when you push the exit or like the back button,
it comes up
again and it comes up again. Does it 2 or 3 times?
Do you notice? Do you notice Facebook does that as well now?
I've not actually noticed that the app does that.
Facebook,
but
if you're halfway down Facebook and you come off, it goes up to the top again.
Right,
and refreshes, and then you come off again. It lets you off. So it has another wee punch to try and get you to stay, and that sort of thing. But they're clever that way, and that's the way they want to do it. But you just have to recognize that's what that is, and that's what they're trying to do. So don't let other people's opinions be your future, and if you don't take the decisions for your future, someone else is going to do it for you and map and plan your future for you. So you need to decide what you want to do for you and how you want to do it and how you want to go forward. So yes, you can have the pressure to succeed in society's expectations, but what is success for you? And because most people haven't defined what success is for them, they then let society define what success is for them, because they don't know what success is themselves. So they immediately look at everybody else in society, and social media tells them this is what success looks like. They then go, I've no got that, so I'm not successful then. It's the classic. It's the story about the guy walking along. He's walking along the beach in Thailand, and he sees the guy out fishing, and he's in his wee boat, and he's fishing for his wee spear and catching all his fish, and he's coming in, and he's got his wee fish, and he's an older kind of guy, and he says to him, see you're catching fish. He went, yeah. He says, what are you doing with them? Then he says, well, I take them to the local shop and I sell them. I sell them at the local shop and I make a wee bit of money, and I go and trade them for other goods and services which I can use and enjoy my life. He says, enjoying what you do? Yeah. He says, it's really good. I enjoy it. He says, but do you know? He says, if you got another few other people to do the same, he says, you could have this as, you could have a better situation. You could make more money. And he says, well, why would I want to do that? He says, well, you'd have a better lifestyle. You'd have exactly what you want. You'd be able to do what you want to do when you want to do it. And then he says, oh, before he answered, he said, oh, but if you even take that one step further, if you get a whole load of other people to go out and do the same thing as what you did, maybe 100 people to fish in that area, and they come in and you can pay them and you can employ them, and then you could have a manufacturing facility which can process this. You could actually sell it to other people around the world and make even more money. And he says, but to what end would I want to do that? You know, what would be the purpose of doing that? He says, well, you'd have you feel successful, and you'd be able to do the things you always wanted to do in the world. And he says, and you'd be able to retire, and you'd be able to lie on the beach, and you'd be able to do anything you want to do when you want to do it. And the guy turned around and says, that's what I've got already.
I was just going to say I already do that.
I've got that already. So what would be the point of doing everything else? So see how that man's success or woman's success is defined by what they think success is, and they're happy with that.
Yeah.
But we as a Western society, and probably just as human beings, we put our own definitions of success on other people and what our opinions of success looks like based on how we've been influenced by people around about us as to what success should be. The success for me when I was influenced was you've got to be, I've got to be a doctor or a lawyer or a professional accountant, something like that. So it took me a hell of a long time to get out of that mindset about I'm not going to be an accountant anymore. I'm not going to be an industry leader anymore. I am actually going to be, I'm going to be my own person. I'm going to build my own buy-to-let business. I'm going to do my own property investment, and I'm going to retire, and I could sit on the beaches of the world financially free for the rest of my life. And I don't need to do a damn thing ever again. I could drink pina coladas all day and still make money.
Yeah, there's all that.
That's not my definition of my mother's success. My mother's success for me is to be an accountant. She is more at that time. She was more excited and elevated in society about the fact that I was a professional accountant in industry running several companies, than in actual fact I'm financially free and I never need to worry about money ever again. I can do what I want to do anytime I want to do it. Now that's success to me. It's no the other one, working for the rest of your life and just having to keep doing it to make ends meet. And sometimes for most people, that will be defined as being broke at a different level. In other words, I've got 150 million pounds coming in every single year, but I'm spending 160 million pounds every single year. So I'm always 10 million pounds in debt. That's not me personally, by the way. But that's an example of being broke at a different level. People look at that person and go, you've got 150 million coming in every single year. Yeah, but you've got 160 million going out. So you're worse off than me.
So that's all a bit smoke and mirror type thing.
Broke at a different level, though.
Yeah.
So you get that. I mean, you're successful doctors, you're successful lawyers, you're successful, whatever it is in profession, anything that you could say, anybody that's been a success in anything, take a good look at them and ask yourself, is that really a lifestyle that you want? And then think about it. I mean, they've got the flash card and the big house and the rest of it, the nice, beautiful family and, that sort of Instagram sort of thing. But then you've got to think to yourself, what have they done? What price have they paid for that? What price are they paying right now for that? Have they got to do that for the rest of their life? Because most of these people come to me and then say, I need to do something else to get out of this. I need my time back. Hence the reason Time Lord, property Time Lord. That's exactly what I do. I teach people to buy their time back and make the income to replace the income that they had before, that they had to work for, to get their time back. So hence the reason we're called Time Lords.
Yeah, really good examples of how people have different views and expectations and things as well. And it's true, parents do often have a really good, high influence on their children to gain prestigious jobs and careers and things, and probably in a profession that they might not even be interested in, but because it's maybe something that their parents did, or like you say about the accountant thing. But yeah, to come back to social media and advertising and things, and how that obviously promotes the idea of material possessions and financial success are the ultimate makers and of achievements and happiness and things, and material items are not that. And it's just part of society. And
this is all, Richard. This is all about the pursuit of security and stability.
Yeah, and that's what we're
after. Yeah. Ultimately, this is what people are after. It's Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
Yes.
So let's come back. Maslow's hierarchy of needs is the first primary need is survival. That is it. And then once you get survival, once you get, you know, a partner, once you have children, once you get a job and financial security, suppose it's financial security, it's not really financial security at all. There's only one type of financial security, and it's having enough money to survive for the rest of your life without having to without having to rely on anything else ever, without having to rely on your ability to perform. That, for me, that's true financial security. That once you get that, it then becomes self-actualization. In other words, you know, I want to be respected. I want to be seen as the person, the go-to person. I want to be the guru in whatever I'm doing. And that's self-actualization. Once you've got everything else, self-actualization comes into play, and that's sometimes how you get idiots like you know, the boy from Russia, the Vladimir Putin or whatever his name is. That's how you get Putin. It's because he's got everything else he wants, and now he's become power mad, and he just wants self-actualization. He wants to go down in history, and he wants to go down in history whether it's good or bad.
Yeah.
But he's no bothered. He's no bothered. He just wants to be remembered. People like that, everybody just wants to be remembered. Let's be honest. In all these years to come, nobody, second generation, will never even know who you were. They'll never know who you were unless you've done something significant, or the family's going to talk about you, and you know, for generations to come, no one will have a clue who you were. I have no idea who my great grandfather is. I have no idea. I have no idea who my great grandmother was either. I know my grandfather and I know my grandmother. They're now passed away now. I know my mother and my father, but that's the second generation will almost forget you. The third generation will have a clue who you were when you mention it. They'll probably my third generation will maybe see this in 100 years to come and go, who the hell's he?
Who's he?
That idiot speaking on the Wealth Creation Show. It's like, that's your great grandfather. It's like, oh, right, okay. Who the hell's he? That's the boy that pays all your bills from his trust fund that he's got for you.
Yeah.
That's the boy that put all that trust fund and that wealth in place for you, so you could live in a beautiful life of enjoyment and relaxation. That's the guy that's talking. And I'll just say to them right now, you better believe it.
Yeah, that's true. And people,
in 100 years' time, when I'm gone, you better believe it, you lot.
But yeah, it's true. And people do seek to accumulate wealth and create those safety nets and shield them from like potential hardships and things, and offering a semblance of control in their life and things, and in their mind as well. Money can give people a lot of peace of mind because they don't have that stress of not having money and not being able to do certain things. But as we spoke about before, money is a medium of exchange.
You have to. This is the mindset of money. You have to learn how to keep money.
Yeah.
You have to learn how to handle money. You have to learn now, and I really mean it. And it's difficult to understand. But this is the classic example about how people win the lottery, and then the next minute they split up. You know, couples split up. It's like they've won the lottery, they split up now because the other one has no dependence on the other one at all now. So sees no need for that person ever again because there's nothing else outside of that dependence. That's all.
Yeah.
So once that dependence is solved, it's like, I don't need to be with you anymore. I could be with anybody. So the grass is always greener. I'm going to look over there. And that's what happens. So this is why you've got to learn and understand how to make money, but you've got to learn how to keep money. You've got to learn how to handle your wealth mentally as well. This is how pop stars crumble, and they're going to just go their meteoric rise to fame overnight, and they have millions coming in, and the next minute they just fall into a heap of shite.
Yeah.
You know, it's like a jelly. Like, oh, I don't know what to do. It's just overwhelming. It's like, yeah, it's overwhelming because you've got all this happening at once to you, and you've not gone through the fire. You've not gone through you've not gone through the. I always say, a diamond is created from carbon, but a diamond is created from carbon, which is put under immense pressure over a long period of time, and that's how diamonds are made. And it's a bit like successful humans. You know, the successful humans are usually the humans that become successful in all these years to come, are the ones that are put under intense pressure, but no, this is just part of the journey.
Yeah.
they understand that, and they know it's just part of the journey because they've read the books from the people that have come before them that have been successful as a result, and they know the price that they've paid for that reason. I spoke to Kevin Wright yesterday. So Kevin was doing a one-off 100% pitch-free investors meeting down in London. So I flew down there, and Kevin was like, "Really? You flew down here and you're flying back at night to come to this? What for?" So we had a discussion about other things, but the very fact that Kevin started 10 years ago, and then where he was and where he is now, and he went through that timeline and what he's achieved, it's like, and I says, I know what price you've paid for that, because I understood that, because I paid a huge price for what I did and where I've got. But it's a price you have to pay if you want that, and everybody's price will be different. But this was all about the price I had to pay for security and stability. And not in my life, but for my family, for my daughter, for my sons, for my wife, for my bigger family, for the community possibly as well. These are and for other people I've not even met yet.
I've just got to say, in the generations that you don't even have yet.
But other people I've not even met yet, not even the generations of me, just people, a friend is just a stranger you've not met yet. That's it in a nutshell. So a friend is a stranger you've not met yet, but you're going to meet these people on your journey, and you're going to be great pals together, or you're going to be acquaintances, or you're just going to be like passing ships, and something will happen, and that'll be the end of it, and you'll never see that person ever again. But there's people out there that will genuinely help you on your journey, and they will have a similar story. But I realised the effort I went through to get that, because the effort I went through was horrendous. But I tell you what, if you were told that you were guaranteed to get what I had, if you paid that price, a lot of people will say, yeah, I'll pay it straight away if I'm guaranteed. They don't realise, though, that they are guaranteed it if they pay that price. Because they don't have the belief. They don't have the belief. They don't believe that's possible.
Or they possibly have the fear of going through that process to attain that.
You ever had a fear of success?
Yeah.
People are fearful of success. What if it's so successful? It'll be overwhelming. Okay. What if it's no successful at all? Is that worse for you? Think about that. That's what we don't understand as humans. And we don't actually take a breath to sit and just think about that, and think about what we're doing right now, and just the moment in time. That's all it is. Just that slowing down. See the amount of times I go out with people to walk, and I go, could you not just slow down? Because you're going 100 miles an hour. It's like, this is meant to be enjoyable. I'm not at a workout. If I wanted to do that, I'd go out running. But let's just slow down and just walk rather than actually run for a change.
Everybody's in such a rush to do things.
Well, people's minds race all the time.
And a classic's what you've said to me a few times, Jim, and it's slow down and speed up. Do you know, if you want to do things, take your time and do it properly rather than rushing through it and having to go back and fix it. But you're totally right, Jim. Knowing what to do with your money and how to keep it, and that whether that be investing it, saving it, having a really well-funded emergency fund, something to fall back on, and also having your retirement set up properly, your pension, and do you know what I mean? Or if you've got a property portfolio that's obviously providing cash flow and things, it's having that knowledge and or knowing the people that could put your money in the right places to benefit you, and having those funds and things to fall back on, and setting you up for further and down the line.
Could you imagine the feeling that you would have right now if you actually thought to yourself, I could retire tomorrow and I never need to work again, and money would never be a problem? Could you imagine what that feeling would be like? Could you imagine that feeling when people say on a TV show, it's like, if I get £25,000, that's life-changing to me. I'm like, really? 25 grand? That'll change your life? That is unbelievable when I think 25 grand will change your life. And I think, God, it's like, where are you right now that 25 grand will make a fundamental difference like that?
No.
So that, and then other people are like, 25 grand wouldn't make a difference to me. It'd be a drop in the ocean. It's like, no, but so it's what it is to everybody else. So Nick, actually, Ian talked about this morning. Again, we'll talk about Ian. So he talked about Nick. He was speaking to Nick. Nick had been through the mill and he's a salesman with pumps and all the rest of it. And he's been like that for years. But Nick's finally retiring and he's getting an early retirement package and all the rest of it. And I tell you what, Ian says, you wouldn't believe the difference in the way you talk to him, the way he talks to you about it just comes across as you've got your retirement coming. It's like there's something different about you. It's like, so if you can get that just out of, because it's not happened yet, but see how it's in his mind now, it's guaranteed because it's been said it's going to get done. So if you can mimic that and guarantee that in your mind and the fact that that's going to happen, more than likely you will work towards that happening. This is how Matthew McConaughey, when people say to Matthew McConaughey, he's doing Green Lights just now. He's course Green Lights it's called, and his book's out, Green Lights. So, and I've not read it, but I know a bit about Matthew McConaughey and his course because I've seen him speak on a private Zoom session. So Matthew McConaughey, when he talks about it, he says, he looks at the thing about, who am I going to be in 10 years' time? And he says, what person do I want to be in 10 years' time? And then how does that look in detail? And then he determines, so what do I need to do now and how do I need to act now to be that person in 10 years' time? And then he works towards that and being that person he's going to be in 10 years' time on a slow progressive movement. So it's like the whole thing about if you know where you're going, you'll know what to do to get there. Guess what happens if you don't know where you're going? You do nothing.
Yeah.
And you'll be exactly the same place as you were when you started 10 years ago. This is when you walk into a pub after being away for 10 years from a community, and it's every single person that's been there before.
The same people are still sitting there, yeah.
They just look older and a bit more decrepit. And you think to yourself, holy shit.
That's a realization.
I'm glad I left this place. I'm glad I did something different, but I ain't coming back. And I'm not going to go back in there again because that's people, in essence, that's like people have just forgotten their dreams. Yeah. It's just like that's where they are for the rest of their life. And if that's what they want, that's what they want. But it's no for me.
It's quite a scary prospect of existence that people have just resigned to the fact that I'll sit in the pub every day of my life till I die. And that's what I'll live. I know. And it's not to judge anybody here, but
have a good chat with their mates, have a great time. They're maybe well off in their mind. That's what they want in life. That's the guy fishing and he only wants to catch the fish, sell them on, make a bit of money, go out the next day and have his dream life of going fishing and just sitting on the beach and being in the sun most of the time in a nice, quiet place.
I suppose if somebody's happy, then that's probably the main thing. But let's have a wee chat about freedom and opportunities and what money could bring you in terms of, and financial freedom could bring you in terms of freedom and opportunities. I mean, I'm sure you've got a lot of examples that you could refer to, Jim.
Well, for example, it's like I'll jump on a plane and just fly down to London, and then I'll jump in a taxi and I'll get to the venue within 2 or 3 hours of the time that that's where I'm going. That's what probably it gives you the freedom and opportunities available. Whereas before it was like, how am I going to work out how to get down there in the most cost-effective, affordable way?
Yeah,
that's the difference. How am I going to get to A to B quicker, and how am I going to make it more efficient, and how am I going to get it in a style which is which is quite nice. I can't decry the fact that having your china and everything in your business class that's a wee bonus. It's once you've business class, it's like you don't want to go back.
And I think, but you're at that point in your journey where you have started to enjoy those types of things, but you didn't for a long time. And I think a lot of people try to jump to that stage.
I stopped at the Concours Lounge and I went, how do I get into the Concours Lounge, which is the first class?
Yeah.
How do I get into the Concours Lounge? There have to be. I'm silver now, an executive, and it says, well, you got to be gold. And I went, okay, so I need to find out how to get gold. But you've also got to go into a flight which actually has first class. You can get in as well. And I said, so I'm going away to the Caribbean this month. Is it this month or is it next month? I can't remember what month we're in. It's November. I'm going.
Yeah,
it's November.
This is the 9th.
I've been cheated out a month. I've lost a month. I thought it was October. I thought we were at the beginning of October. Wow, I've lost a month.
Oh no!
So I'm away at the Caribbean.
October. Sorry, it's the 9th of October.
There you go, I tell you.
Sorry.
So
but you go in November. You go in November.
You're away in a month, a 1 forward.
Sorry, I'm just saying it's the 9th, but you go in
So
November.
next month I'm away at the Caribbean,
Right,
and I says, so how am I not allowed into the Concorde Lounge then? Says, well, that type of plane doesn't have first class. And I went, well, I did try to book first class, but they only did business class, and that's the reason why. So the type of plane. And then this wee lassie runs past and goes, yeah, I've been on a flight to Johannesburg and that's first class, and then went right in. And I went, just rub it in, hen.
She's got to say, did that stick in your craw? But,
and a couple of well-groomed guys came out as well, and I thought, just rub it in. But do you see how even me, I'm like, wait a minute, I need to be in the first class lounge now. And that's what inspires me to keep going and actually be better at what I do, and build wealth higher. I'm quite content with the business, but I like the fact that just being able to go into the first class lounge.
Yeah,
that kind of floats your boat. Well, floats my boat. That's the sort of things. It's experiences I probably go for more than material possessions.
Yeah.
Material possessions can be easily acquired. It's like, if I want a Ferrari, I'll go and hire one for a couple of weeks, get out of my system and hand the car back. Because after a couple of weeks, I'll just get bored. It's like, you know what it's like? To me, buying a Ferrari and buying a Lamborghini, Huracan and stuff like that is like going on a roller coaster. The first 20 seconds is very exhilarating. And then almost after that, you go, oh, can I not get off now? It's because it gets, oh, geez, you're all over the place. Oh.
Yeah.
And you're getting bounced about everywhere. But it was good for the first 20 seconds. But the next couple of minutes is like, I don't know if anybody else gets that feeling. Is like, oh, I just didn't want to do this anymore. I want to get off. So to me, I think that's what it'd be like when I've had a wee bit of manifestation and thought about what it'd be like to have that. And I think that's experience to me. It's like after 2 weeks, I think the honeymoon period would be over, and I think I would just look at the car and go, "Could I paid that much for that?" It's like,
I think a lot of people would be the exact same. I know I would.
So I'd be more annoyed at myself. I allowed myself to buy something like that, and then effectively just waste that money.
Once the novelty wears off,
the novelty, it's a novelty. So hire it, hand it back, and that's the end of it. So again, an experience. You're just paying for the hire and hand it back, rather than actually the possession, which is like you're stuck with it, and you've got to maintain it. You've got to pay the insurance on it. You've got to clean it. You've got to drive about in it now and again to keep it going. And that to me just seems like so much hard work.
Yeah, so, but you're right. I mean,
that's the promise of freedoms, opportunities, all the rest of it. But I don't know if there's anything else that I've not spoke about before. But it is being able to do what you want to do when you want to do it.
Yeah, and that's where I was going to say, like, it does really, money does play a significant role in opening doors for you. And financial freedom gives you that ability to make choices and live life on your own terms, which when you're in that position, that's where you have the ability to do that. And it provides that sense of security and enables people to focus on their personal growth and things as well. Money truly does open the door to the world of opportunities. But then you talk about the first class lounge and things, Jim, and I was going to touch on consumerism and materialism and things, and that kind of falls into that category as well.
Look at it this way. Look at it this way. If you met somebody for the first time, and I've seen it happen, where you meet somebody for the first time, and you just meet them, you think, oh, pleasant enough person, and the rest of it, and other people around about you'll meet them. But as soon as they realize that person has been successful in something, or they're a billionaire or a multimillionaire and doing, out of what they're doing, their attitude towards them changes.
Mm-hmm.
Suddenly, more people gravitate towards that person. But why is that? It's not the acquisition of money. It's the assumption that they must have done something or be successful in something, and it's the success that they gained in order to do that, and the path they trod in order to do that people are gravitating towards them. It's not necessarily for the money. Admittedly, there's people out there that gravitate towards them. Classic example is young women in Monaco and stuff like that. They married the old guys, but these are people that are quite. These are ladies that are quite happy to do that. They want that sort of lifestyle. They want to live that sort of lifestyle. So they're happy to marry somebody a lot older than them to get that lifestyle, because they'll never achieve it as far as they're concerned. and vice versa. You know, with guys and older women, that sometimes happens as well. The toy boy sort of thing. Liz Taylor was renowned for it, wasn't she?
Yeah. But I think most successful people and things, you're right, people do gravitate towards them. But I think for the most part, it's people look at somebody and think, God, they're successful. What are they doing? How are they doing that? And that's why people then obviously end up in their circle trying to pick up what they're doing to do it themselves. But yeah, you do get obviously the people that are there just for the money.
The access to quality education, that's quite a good one as well. Money allows you and affords you to do. You know, there's no doubt about it. You can choose if you want to go to certain universities and your children to go to certain universities, and you can do that. I mean, you know, on a really small scale, the classic example is we all had to pay the bus fare if our children wanted to go to Wade or Madras at the time. Now it's free now for people under 18, but we had to pay the bus fare. So I know there's a few people that actually couldn't do that, even though they wanted to do that for the children, because they couldn't pay the bus fare for them to get there every single day, because it's a few thousand a year. But I felt for their education it was necessary to do that, and it's probably paid off, because the boys went to Madras, and it's no surprise that one works in the R&A in St Andrews, the Royal and Ancient, and the other one works in the Bayer Theatre with the St Andrews University as their technical light and theatre production guy. So that's exactly what they wanted to do, but you know, I doubt very much if they're going to, you know, another school in a different area, that they possibly might not have ended up there. They might have been in that same field, but somewhere else in a different company. So, you know, I could only assume that that's probably why they managed to get these positions. It was one of these bonuses, at the fact that they went to Madras and St Andrews for their education.
Yeah, I met a couple recently who are going to be renting their house because they're actually going to move, so that they're in the catchment area for the school, for their children, obviously.
We were quite fortunate at that time that you were allowed to choose the school that you went to anyway. And all you did was apply, because there was never an oversupply of children in an area, and there was a lot more teachers to a degree. So they got in at that time. I don't know if that's changed, but I get the impression by what you've just said that's probably the case. And they just want
it's different.
children, yeah. So a good education and a good start is really as a foundation that your children could build on, for that reason. And that's why I've done what I've done to allow these opportunities. Tony's a different kettle of fish completely. My daughter, I mean, you know, blew me out of the water in terms of what she did. She paid all her own way through university and everything. Never took anything from us at all. Never even asked for anything from us at all, and just did everything. Worked all these different jobs that she did in order to do it. Even got a student loan, and then what she did was she invested that student loan and, you know, her first help to buy ISAs and stuff like that, and then made a higher return with student loan money. But she did come to me for advice on that. I went, take the money, put it in a high interest account, or make it work for you, and then pay it back, and then use that money to do something, the money you've made on it, and do something else.
But then her coming to you for that advice just demonstrates that she knew you would have the answer, because she's very switched on and quite independent. But obviously, if she knows that somebody else has the right answer for her, like yourself, that's why she's come to you and asked that. So
you can't tell Tony anything. It's like you can come down and say you're the god of all wealth completely, and everything you say turns to gold, and she'll still do her own thing.
Yeah, she's quite like that.
It's like, I'm not caring. It's like, and then she'll come back later on and go, you know, you were right. It's like, I know I was, but you wouldn't listen, would you?
No, that's good. So, consumerism and materialism, we have kind of covered it throughout, but I mean, it is about obviously the pursuit of products and services and the experiences that we spoke about as well, that enhance possibly your social status, like the first class thing, and your overall well-being, and that has resulted in an amplified demand for money among people. So, but I think finally, for us to finish off the day, I think we kind of talk about money without really talking about the impact of the rising cost of living. And I think that's a good subject for us just to finish up on today. Because I mean, as the cost of living continues to rise and a reliance on money becomes even more, basic necessities such as housing and healthcare and education and everything we spoke about today demand substantial financial resources, and the need to meet these escalating expenses intensifies the importance of money on our day-to-day lives and leaving little room for anything else in some people's, and a lot of people's circumstances. So I think it's only right that we touch on that subject.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. The rising cost of living. I mean, I put it in a nutshell when I did that vlog the other week. I mean, my mortgage has gone from, personally for me, it's gone from 200 quid or something to about 700 quid. So it's an extra 500 quid a month. Now, I'm lucky I've got an offset mortgage. So the £500 I'm paying extra actually goes down to pay my debt. So it's no costing me anything. I'm actually getting a return. I'm actually getting a return on the money I've got in the offset account. I'm getting a return about 6.5%, which is brilliant because you'll not get that in the bank. And I've got the money readily available in case I need it to do something else with it. So I've got it there if I want it, but it's making money while it's sitting there, or it's saving my money, making or saving. That's the key here. And I've got it at hand if I need it. So there's no doubt about it. But if I didn't have that, it'd be an extra £6,000 a year I need to find. And then my utility bills have gone up £250. So £250 every single month on my utility bills. Is times 12 is £3,000. So we're at £9,000 just with these two things. And then you've got a few other things as well, like food, for example. We could probably estimate that's gone up another £1,000. So I'm at £10,000. So you've got to earn round about £14,000 to get £10,000 in your hand. But if you're a higher rate taxpayer, you've got to earn probably round about £16,000 or £17,000 to get that. Same money. So if you're a high rate taxpayer, you've got to earn, to get the 10,000 extra to pay for these three things, you've got to earn £17,000 more. Who can earn that type of money every single year at the drop of a hat? Just in that, just what's happened in the last couple of years.
In a short space of time.
In that short space of time. No one. So this is why you've always got to have some sort of side hustle and actually build wealth. And this is what I keep saying all the time. In order to combat the rising cost of living, and it will always happen. It's funny we should call it the cost of living.
I know.
Is there really a cost of living?
Evidently there is.
Yeah. And then people going about, oh, money's the root of all evil. Money's evil itself. It's like, wait a minute. We're actually defining it as it costs, that's money, to live.
Yeah.
So we call it the cost of living. Money, you need to live, a cost. So the very fact that we say that in the nature and how we do things and how we program ourselves is ultimately why we're in this situation just now, and why a lot of people, and it's about 95% of the population, are in this impact of the rising cost of living. And that will go on all the time. We've just got it all at once.
Yeah.
But mark my words, please recognize this pattern in an economy. When you pump money into a system, it causes inflation, and inflation rises prices. Therefore, the spiral starts again. So this is why you need to identify and see this happening when it happens, and think to yourself, in a couple of years, you know what's coming. It's the whole thing about once you solve a problem, you create another one.
Yeah.
So I've solved that problem, but guess what? It's caused this problem. Look at a classic example with rental law. Let's put rent controls in. Okay, we'll solve that problem. Oh, we've got a homeless crisis now because all the landlords are sold up and they're leaving the market. So we've got a homeless crisis now. We've no built any houses. That's the problem that's been created for the most vulnerable people in our society.
Yeah, it has a knock-on effect.
Yeah, they don't see that. They don't see that happening. So the rising costs, and definitely a major concern for a lot of individuals and families, and how that's happening. I don't take anything from the boys at all. They earn their own money. They stay in this house. I take no rent. I take no money for food. I keep telling them, build wealth while you can. And I keep saying to them, put money into your pension this year, get that uplift, get that locked in now. And over a period of time, that'll build in wealth. I don't want anything from you at all. But I do know that if it all went sour, I could just go to the boys and say, bail me out.
Yeah.
Effectively, bail me out. It's like, I need a bailout from my kids. But that's the key here. The basic fundamentals here is you've got to do some sort of side hustle to do this. Now, we talked about in previous shows, and I will bring it up again, about the person that could have gone to the pub on a Sunday night, or they could have gone out to work and worked a night shift. And that night shift earned them something like, it was £160 in that night shift, just for that one night shift. And then multiplied that by a 45 working week, then it was an extra 7,200 a year that person was getting on their income. See how one night shift on a Sunday night, when you're not doing anything else really at the work, which you were given the option of.
I think was it not more than that?
Yeah, it probably was. It
I
probably
think
would
it
have been.
was.
I didn't want to play this up a lot more because
But it was more than that.
I'm sure it ended up about £12,000 a year.
It was.
And this guy over a 10-year period then would have had £144,000 that he had actually saved just out of doing one night shift every Sunday night for the working weeks of the year that he had, which was 45 weeks.
Mhm.
And that £144,000 could be invested in a fund, which over the 10-year period could have maybe grown about 2%. So it would have ended up being about £250,000. And it's like, wait a minute, that could have paid your whole house off in 10 years.
Yeah.
That fund.
Just for that one extra shift.
Yeah, for one extra shift every week. That would have paid his house off in 10 years completely. 250 grand in the bank. Cha-ching.
It's frightening when you look at it like that, but people don't understand how it compounds up.
Mind-blowing. It's mind-blowing. I know we use the word frightening. I know you used it the other now, but we should say that's mind-blowing.
Wow.
Because it's not the fact that you should be fearful of it. It's the fact you should be going, holy shit, how did I do that?
I think I more meant it's frightening that people
No,
Richard,
this is a normal thing. It's not what you're saying that I'm talking about. It's the fact that we use that information and that's how we process it in our brain. That's all. So that's how we process it in our brain and say, when we say frightening, immediately our brain goes, you say frightening? Flight or fight response.
Yeah.
Kicks in straight away. Keep away from that if it's frightening. That's what your brain thinks. It's a computer. If you say something to your brain, it's a nightmare, your brain's going to go, oh, it's a nightmare. And it's like, this is only a word that you're using in normal general speak about, oh, that's a nightmare to do that. But your brain is a computer and it goes, oh, it's a nightmare. There must be a problem here. And you're like, I don't know. And then you wonder to yourself why you get to the end of the week and you're going, and you're shaking. You're shaking and you're all anxious and you're anxiety and you're waking up in the middle of the night and it's like, it's because you're telling yourself it's frightening. It's because you're telling yourself it's, it's a nightmare. It's because you're telling yourself it's, all these different things that you're giving yourself that's negative. You don't realize you're doing it. How do I know that? Because I used to do it.
Yeah.
And I catch myself doing it now and again. So that's why you've got to overcome that in your mind and think to yourself, what I need to do to get to where I want to be and how I'm going to get there and how I'm going to combat this cost of living crisis right now and what I've got. And is it really a cost of living crisis? Some people want to take part in the cost of living crisis just to be with other people. They've not even got a crisis. They just like to be around other people. Yay, cost of living crisis. Yeah. Let's talk to everybody about how difficult it is. It's like, well, when you look at your situation, it's not that difficult at all for you. So why are you sympathising with other people about the cost of living crisis? Because they like to have social connection with other people.
Yeah.
So the difficulty is what you should be doing to other people is like, this isn't a big issue for me. However, I can show you how to get out of that problem because I've done it. So if we helped everybody else and all the rest of us actually overcome our fears and move forward and teach us how to do individually, how to get to where we are, because we're maybe just a bit more successful than the other person in terms of what that is, in terms of monetary terms, for example. Yeah. And if they followed that pattern, then we'd all be a bit more prosperous overall. And we wouldn't have a situation where we would be mass panic about a cost of living crisis.
Yeah, I know. And I think when we think about the cost of living crisis, and obviously the importance of the money supply, and that stems from the money's connection to its the economy's ability to produce goods and services and things. And when money supply increases faster than the economy, then that's what leads to inflation. And conversely, if the money supply fails to grow adequately, then it could lead to a decrease in production and ultimately result in things like higher unemployment and things as well.
Absolutely. This is why the government and the Bank of England and the think tanks go, oh, inflation's come down less than more than we expected. Oh, base rates suddenly going up like we expected. Yeah. And it's like, you didn't have a clue what you're talking about, do you? It's honestly, I just look at the government sometimes and the Bank of England and stuff like that and go, you have not got a clue what you're talking about.
Mind-blowing.
Yeah. You have no idea. Economics is just one person's opinion. You can get 1,000 economists into a room and every single one of them will give you a different opinion of the current situation.
Yeah.
They'll not agree. They'll all give you a different opinion. And that's how our society works. Everybody wants to have their own opinion, and they want their opinion to be the one that actually is right, because they just want to be right. We're going back to self-actualization here, aren't we?
Yeah.
And that's where we are right now. So you've got to, as a person, as an individual out there, you've got to look at your own circumstances, work out where you want to be, and work out how you're going to get there, and start to try and avoid getting dragged into the same self-talk as what the other people are there in that cesspit right now, because effectively it is a cesspit. And then you've got to then work out is how you're going to give people a hand up from there rather than a hand out to keep them there, because that's what happens right now. Our society gives people hands out, a handout, and quite rightly so, for the really people that are needing it.
People that need it, yes.
You've got no chance of ever getting out of this hole in their current situation, but we can actually get them the right resources to get them out, based on their story that they tell themselves, and change that story for them. But we have to then help the people that want to get out of there as much as possible, because these are the people that will probably help the other people that are in there as well, just a wee bit behind them. And everybody helps everybody else get out of this hole and get out of this.
The chain reaction,
the negative self-talk. The negative self-talk is going to literally kill you. That's why people die earlier than other people, believe it or not, because their self-talk. Yes, yeah, every single time. Your self-talk will make you unhealthy if it's negative. You could talk yourself to health. Your mindset, and that's
there's another show.
Yeah,
Just going to say that.
There's definitely another show. How to talk yourself into a good frame of mind, mental state, and into improving your health overall, and live longer and a more happy and prosperous life. That is entirely achievable, and it's all to do with your self-talk that you talk to yourself right now. You should have yourself. And if everybody goes, this guy's off his rocker, everybody talks to themselves. You have somebody telling you right now, when you just said to yourself right now, this guy's off his rocker, that is that wee voice in your head. It's your self-talk.
Definitely.
Think about that.
That's quite an interesting subject, Jim. We'll maybe touch on that one day. Definitely. But but let's conclude for today. And I think obviously we've demonstrated today that money undoubtedly has become everything in today's world, because of there's pressures of society, there's the desire for security, stability. It brings the promise of freedom and opportunities, the influence of consumerism and things, and the rising cost of living, and the illusion of social validation as well. But I think it's crucial to remember that although money is important, and we've clearly demonstrated that it is, it shouldn't really define your worth and overshadow the aspects of your life that do bring you true happiness and fulfillment, and that's family.
People actually let it define them.
I know,
and they actually define other people by the amount of money they've got. They could be a total bam pot, and because they've got loads of money, they gravitate towards them, and they put them up on a pedestal because they've got loads of money. They could be the biggest shit in the world, and some of them are. And yet people are like in complete awe because they've got millions. Get lost. You're not even getting near me. So the need for money is strongly linked to the culture of consumerism and materialism. That's clearly what it is. And they want you to do that. And this is all about sphere of influence. Consumerism is the cultural tendency, really, to buy and use goods and services, whereas materialism is the belief that material possessions are crucial for the happiness and your social status. Many people, for example, desire to own high-end electronics and designer apparel and jewellery, and causing them to spend a lot more money than they actually need to. We've all seen it on these shows. The guy, you know, what was his name? Alvin from America. Alvin opens the girl's closet, and he goes, you know, when did you wear this dress? She went, oh, I bought it and I never ever wore it. And it's like from about 3 years ago, and it's still in the packet with a label on it. It's still there. And it's like, what? You bought a dress for £1,000 or $1,000
and never
ever worn it once. And it's like, what happens up here to make you think that that's the right thing to do? You should be questioning yourself then and going, why am I doing that? What's behind that? Where is this coming from? Because that's the deep down problem you've got to solve. Not the fact that you're buying it, the fact that you're allowing yourself to do it.
Yeah, and look at the motivations for your spending.
Yeah. So these are the people that need to boost their social status and display their wealth, and that's what motivates their spending overall.
Yeah.
And it's a crazy way to be, and I will say it's a crazy. Well, didn't call me crazy. People will say, "Hey, you're crazy." It's like, you need to get your checkup from the neck up. You need to get your thinking straight. You need to get yourself sorted out, and it's your thinking that's causing it all. And once you master these 6 inches between your ears and this brain and the way you think, you will set yourself free completely. It will be forever. You will be in complete bliss and paradise forever. No one will ever be able to touch you. You will be untouchable in your mental state of mind, how you are. And folk will go, how on earth did they manage to do that? And you go, well, I just changed my thinking. I just looked at things differently. I just thought about things differently. See that? Thoughts, feelings. Thoughts lead to feelings, lead to actions. That's the key. And that's the whole thing. It comes from that. And there that I think that's probably where we finish this show. I think probably the next show we should talk about just what we talked about there now.
Yeah, that's quite a good topic and it'll be a good follow on. So yeah, I'll put that together for next Monday, 12:30, and that could be our topic, Jim. But thanks for everybody watching. Sandy's jumped in there. Ego comes before a fall, I believe. Keep focused and have realistic values, and you will be a happier person. Very true, Sandy. Thanks for that.
Yeah, absolutely, possibly. But again, this is all people's beliefs. This is all people's beliefs based on what they've learned themselves personally. There's no right or wrong answer for anybody, Richard.
Mm-hmm.
There's no right or wrong answer. There's an in between. There's a discussion for what they need to do for themselves in order to help themselves be happier in their whole life. And again, that comes back to a complete different subject.
Yeah.
This is what floats my boat. How people think and why they do what they do for that reason. It just intrigues me because it's lessons that you can learn from other people's wisdom rather than actually having to go through it yourself. Yeah. Just the old thing is that, like, if somebody's done it before you, just have the faith and belief if you do it as well, the same thing will happen for you. And that's all you need to believe. You don't need to go through the turmoil and the torment and is this going to work? Is it not going to work? Yes, it'll work because somebody's done it already.
Yeah.
It's only a matter of time. It's like, I still wonder how on earth I managed to do that in 10 years to be financially free from homeless and unemployed. And it's like, and people go, oh, that's unbelievable. That's unbelievable. People go, and I'm going like, that's a long time. I would expected to do it in at least 5 or like next week. But see, it's expectations. It's what you think and how you think and how you believe in yourself and how you think you're going to be able to do something. But it's about execution. It's about doing it. It's about getting out there and doing it. It's what we'll go right full circle about Jose Hernandez, about define your problem in life. This is it. I've got it here. Define your problem and purpose in life. Recognize how far you are. Buy yourself a roadmap so that you know how to get there. Prepare yourself accordingly to the challenge and work hard, but more importantly, work smart.
Work smart, very, and I picked up on that when you said it at the beginning. Working smart. It's all about time again. But that was a good way. Yeah, like you say, full circle. We'll finish there, Jim. That was great. Thanks everyone who's watching, and obviously yourself, Jim, for giving us all your insights and potentially a subject for next week. So we'll see you all next Monday, 12:30.
Bye-bye for now.
See you later.